3, 4. Burn it down! Burn it down! Burn it down!
Iron City, USA, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, playing host to tonight's RWL Snarl. Good evening, everyone. Glad you could make it, and well, so are we. Wally Cardill, here with Johnny Bianco and General Manager Tex Lynch, and I gotta say, I'm surprised you're even here tonight. We were expecting a substitute, thinking you might be looking after Danielle Heathcote.
Well, you're definitely a perceptive one, Wally. That's exactly what almost did happen with Don Hickson's throat still healing. I was going to ask that Chicago Danny Austin from Southwest to fill in for me tonight, but Danielle insisted at least one of us should be here, and, well, I guess it was me, because she's confined to bed rest.
You look really tired, though. You sure you're good?
You try flying from Texas to New Mexico, back to Texas, and then here to Pittsburgh. See how you feel.
Point taken. And you just soldier on. Anyhow, a great card laid on tonight.
All right, but for a minute, let's talk about RWL Southwest, because it's important. I was just out there in Rio Rancho, and the upset of the year had to be Boston Connor from out of nowhere picking up an upset win over the Big Boss Man, and him and the Grand Wizard of Wrestling Ray's holy old hell. They told the producers of the show that they wanted the match pulled to replace it with something else, but it was too late, and what's done is done, and now we're showing you the clip,
This is
too.
a show stealer and a half right here. I mean, you've got to be kidding me. This is amazing. Boston Connor, with a kick to the Big Boss Man, takes himself up to the middle rope, and whoa! Spinning knees to the back of the Big Boss Man. Are you serious? Look at this. Boston Connor going for a cover one. And, well, get the hell out of here. I never would have believed it.
And your winner, Boston Connor.
You know, Gene, no matter what happens tonight, this is going to be the upset of the evening. It's absolutely unbelievable. Boss Man had an off day. He must be sick.
Nice people over there at Southwest. More about that later. Well, the Big Boss Man has two choices: hang his head in shame or try to redeem himself, and he's going to try to do that against Mid-South champion Billy White Moon.
So what was Southwest really like? Scott run it into the ground yet?
Oh, I got stories to tell you guys later.
Our opening non-title contest tonight is set for one fall with a 15-minute time limit. Introducing first, accompanied by the Grand Wizard of Wrestling, from Cobb County, Georgia, weighing 305 pounds, the Big Boss Man.
Oh, no kidding, guys. The Boss Man and the Grand Wizard are pretty angry about that Boston Connor thing. Oh, it's going to come back to bite him and A.J. Hawk and anybody else associated with the Toxic Table. It's going to come back to bite them on the ass.
They would have buried that match footage, never to be seen again. They would have gotten away with it, too, if it wasn't for Southwest G and Gene Barry, making sure that match got out to the public. He seems like a good guy. His opponent, accompanied by Jim Dandy Deacons, and representing Best of the West from Norman, Oklahoma, weighing 237 pounds, the reigning RWL Mid-South champion, Billy White Moon.
Mr. Billy White Moon, Mr. Best of the West, accompanied by Jim Dandy Deacons, and he has been cleaning house. His last appearance was amazing, wrapping it up in just a little over 2.5 minutes. And you got to be impressed with the Mid-South champion, Billy White Moon, late.
I'm a little concerned for Billy. Boss Man is just raging. A volcano set to erupt, and I'd hate to see Billy caught in the lava flow from that.
Well, the thought had crossed my mind, but what can be done? A match is a match.
That could be bad news for Billy White Moon. The Boss Man is absolutely seasoned. Referee Willie Johnson rings the bell. White Moon charges. Boss Man puts on the brakes, slams him down. Rounds him up into a Boston Crab. Billy White Moon, trying to make his way to the ropes, fights his way out instead. Delivers a kick to the back of the Big Boss Man. Boss Man catching a back body drop from Billy White Moon. And another kick to the back. The Mid-South champion, firing on all cylinders from the word go here, drives a knee into the head of the Big Boss Man. Maybe he is sick. The Grand Wizard of Wrestling immediately coming to the aid of his man. And the big boss man definitely having some problems here. Like he did the other night at Southwestern. Draws a knee into the back of Billy White Moon. Fails to connect with the kick. Billy White Moon turns it into a dragon screw. The Mid-South champion, countered by the big boss man, delivered a different dragon screw from a different opponent. A kick to the chest from the big boss man. It looks like boss man's trying to wake it up here, but catches a shoulder tackle from Billy White Moon. White Moon goes around, gets ready to throw the switch on both arms. Ow, well, there you go. Okay, Billy White Moon in control of the big boss man. Drives another knee into the head of the big boss man. The Grand Wizard got to be more than a little bit worried about his man, who's been performing a little off lately. Here's a cover. One, but just a one. Big boss man powering out with the greatest of ease on that one. Here's a shot to the midsection from the big boss man. Misses with the clothesline. Billy White Moon rounds him upside suplex. And again, the big boss man laid out center ring, much to the delight of Jim Dandy Deacons, and much to the consternation of the Grand Wizard of Wrestling, who is definitely sweating bullets right now under that turban. Billy White Moon got a firm hold on the big boss man's center ring. He's gotten absolutely nowhere to go. Boss man counters, finds his way out. Moves in. Billy White Moon with another counter. Boss man counters with a kick. Billy White Moon countered by the boss man again. Another kick to the midsection. The Grand Wizard magically producing a chair for the big boss man's benefit, but I don't know if he'll get to use it. Billy White Moon whipped to the far corner. White Moon escapes the corner. Takes down the big boss man. The chair's just in reach, but I don't think boss man's going to be able to get there. Billy White Moon going to work on the big boss man, laid out again. And Billy White Moon be smart to keep him there. A stomp to the midsection. Billy White Moon sets it up again, throws the switch on both arms. That's going to yank your shoulders real bad. Billy White Moon countered by the big boss man. A shoulder tackle takes him down. The big boss man rounds up Billy White Moon. The Mid-South champion counters with a shot to the midsection, backs the big boss man off. And into the sleeper. Billy White Moon cinching in that Indian sleeper, but too close to the ropes again. The Grand Wizard doing anything he can to distract referee Willie Johnson. Billy White Moon gives up on the pin. The big boss man counters him with an arm drag. The referee finally free of his situation with the turnbuckle as the big boss man escorts Billy White Moon to the ropes. Billy White Moon draped across the middle rope by the big boss man, and here he comes, rebound off the ropes. And oh man, just drives all his weight into the back of Billy White Moon. Here's a cover, one, but just the one. Billy White Moon powering out pretty easily. The big boss man drives a hard shot into the shoulder of Billy White Moon, rounds him up by his neck, sets him up, spinning neck breaker center ring. And now Billy White Moon on the receiving end of some bad business here at the hands of the big boss man. Boss man whips him over the top rope and out onto the floor. Billy White Moon just missing those ring steps by a couple of inches as the big boss man makes his way out. Referee Willie Johnson already starting to count here. White Moon takes him down, delivers a chop to the arm. Boss man back up on his feet. White Moon right there with the dragon sleeper on the big boss man, shoves him back. Kick to the midsection. Boss man counters with a kick. Billy White Moon winds him up. Look at this. This is nicely done by Billy White Moon here, the Mid-South champion, showing why he's top dog. And he rolls the big boss man back inside the ring. Makes his way back inside himself. Billy White Moon rounded up by big boss man, whipped to the ropes. Boss man collides with him, but no result. White Moon counters. And here we go. There's that Warpath punch. Down goes the big boss man. And Billy White Moon going for the pin. And oh man, the Grand Wizard of Wrestling pleading his case. But the big boss man struggling to get back to his feet. Now Billy White Moon getting into it with the Grand Wizard. And big boss man sneaks up behind him. The distraction working a charm as usual. Back body drop for Billy White Moon. The big boss man covers, hooks the leg, one. And just another one. Billy White Moon has definitely taken nowhere near enough punishment. An elbow backs off the boss man. Billy White Moon one more time into the Indian sleeper. And big boss man ain't got nowhere to go. He is in big trouble. The Grand Wizard is basically pissing himself. And oh man, well that's it. The big boss man says no mas. Billy White Moon wins this one by submission.
by tap out. Billy White Moon.
Oh, well, the Grand Wizard of Wrestling and the Big Boss Man got to be pretty upset. 2 losses in 2 performances. One by pinfall and another by submission here by Billy White Moon. Uh-oh, look at this, Billy White Moon. Battling back on the Big Boss Man, tried to ambush him post-match. And now looks like Billy White Moon's about to make him pay for that with a top rope superflex. Well, never do that to Billy White Moon again, I suppose.
Boss Man tried to bushwhack Billy White Moon, but he's FA'd and he's about to FO.
Oh, he's definitely about to FO. Look at Billy White Moon. He is just trembling. He is so mad. Here we go. Boot to the head. Down goes the Big Boss Man. And Billy White Moon delivering a painful message to the Big Boss Man. Says next time take the loss gracefully.
I don't know that the Big Boss Man will ever live this week down. Also, one wonders if his law and disorder tag partner Bam Bam Bigelow is hiding his face under a paper bag after these back-to-back epic level fails by the Boss Man. Might not be a bad idea to maybe lay low for a few weeks.
To come back tonight, right after taking a pinfall loss to a D-level competitor, and then losing a non-title match to the Mid-South champion, Billy White Moon, has got to be both discouraging and embarrassing as all get out. Maybe Boss Man should attack someone else and get himself suspended just so he doesn't look too stupid.
That is not a bad idea, GB.
And so, summing it up quickly, the Mid-South champ scores an impressive 3 count win over Big Boss Man, who's building himself a pretty harsh losing streak. More RWL Snarl when we return from the break.